My sister told me to carry her luggage like I was her personal helper. When I calmly said no, she got really angry, and before I even had time to react, she slapped me right there in front of a crowd at the airport. The sound was loud. People turned and stared. I just stood there, shocked. But what hurt even more, my parents didn't say anything to her. Instead, they got mad at me. They told me I was being dramatic and reminded me, like always, that she's been through a lot and didn't mean it. Like that made it okay. I stood there, my heart racing, feeling embarrassed in front of strangers. I felt like I didn't even belong in my own family. They acted like I should be thankful just to be included, like it was okay for them to treat me badly. But what they didn't know was that I had paid for the whole Hawaii trip. Every plane ticket, hotel, and tour was paid for with my money. So while they were still yelling, I pulled out my phone, opened the booking app, and quietly canceled every single one of their tickets. Then I turned around, walked out of the airport, and left them behind. No yelling, no big speech, just silence, and the sound of my footsteps heading toward peace. Hi, my name is Rachel Blake, and I'm 27 years old. I've always been the quiet one in my family, the one who says it's okay, even when it's not. My parents never really noticed me the way they noticed my sister Amber. She's always been the favorite, loud, dramatic, and spoiled since we were kids. If she wanted something, she got it. And if I wanted something, I had to earn it, beg for it, or just let it go. A few months ago, I decided to surprise my family with something big. I had been saving up for a long time, working extra hours, skipping fun things, and being careful with every dollar. I used my savings to book a family trip to Hawaii. I paid for everything: flights, hotels, tours, food. But I didn't tell them it was me. I just wanted to do something kind and hoped, maybe, just maybe, they'd appreciate me a little. But I was wrong. The day of the trip, we got to the airport. Everyone was excited, well, mostly Amber was. She kept barking orders at me like I was her personal assistant. Then she said, "Rachel, grab my suitcase. My arms hurt." I looked at her, smiled calmly, and said, "No, Amber, you can carry it yourself." She blinked at me, shocked. "Excuse me," she snapped. I said no. I repeated, still calm. And then it happened.
She slapped me.
Right there in the middle of the airport, in front of other passengers. The sound was loud. People turned and stared. I stood there, frozen. My cheek was burning. My heart was pounding. I thought my parents would rush to me, ask if I was okay. But they didn't. Instead, my mom walked over and said, "Rachel, stop making a scene. You know your sister's been through a lot." My dad added, "You always overreact. Just let it go." Tears burned in my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I had never felt so small. I realized something in that moment. They didn't see me. They never had. But what they didn't know was that this trip, I paid for all of it. And I was done. Being their punching bag, I stood there for a moment, watching my parents fuss over Amber like she was the victim. She kept rubbing her hand like she was the one who got hurt. No one cared that my face was still stinging. No one cared that I was humiliated in front of a crowd. I slowly took a step back, then another. I didn't say a word. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From anger. Quiet anger, the kind that builds for years and finally spills over. I opened the booking app, one used to plan the whole trip. I tapped each reservation one by one. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Flights, hotels, island tours, all of it gone.
They still didn't know.
I looked up. My parents were arguing about where to get lunch before the flight. Amber was busy checking her makeup in a compact mirror. I took a deep breath, turned around, and walked away. No one even noticed. My steps were slow but steady as I walked through the airport, past the gates, out the doors. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't look back. Just silence, and the sound of my own footsteps heading towards something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Outside, I called a ride, not to go home, but to a different terminal. While canceling their trip, I had booked my own flight to Maui, a quieter part of Hawaii, a peaceful place I had always wanted to visit, but never had the chance. This time, the trip was just for me. As I sat in the car on the way to my gate, my phone started buzzing, calls from Mom, then Dad, then Amber. I didn't answer. I blocked all three of them. For the first time ever, I chose myself. The flight to Maui was quiet, peaceful. No drama, no shouting, no walking on eggshells, just the hum of the plane and the soft voice of the flight attendant offering snacks. I looked out the window as we flew over the ocean. The sun was setting, and the clouds looked like pink cotton candy. For the first time in years, I actually felt free. When I landed, I picked up my small suitcase, the only one I had planned for myself, and headed outside. A warm breeze hit my face, and I smiled. I hadn't even realized how tight my chest had been until now. At the hotel, the front desk clerk greeted me with a flower lei and a kind smile. "Welcome to Maui," she said, and I whispered back, "Thank you. I really needed this." My room had a view of the beach. I opened the balcony door and stepped out. The waves were crashing gently, and the stars were starting to come out. I stood there for a long time, just breathing. No one was yelling at me. No one was making me feel small. I was alone, and that felt good. The next morning, I ordered room service, pancakes, fresh fruit, and the best coffee I'd ever had. I sat by the window and watched the sunrise over the water. I didn't check my phone. I didn't wonder what my family was doing. They weren't my problem anymore. Later that day, I went for a walk along the shore. I even joined a group snorkeling tour I had secretly wanted to try for years. The guide was funny. The group was kind. And I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in forever. That night, I posted one photo on social media. Me standing on the beach, smiling with the waves behind me. No caption. Just peace. But I knew they'd see it. The next morning, I finally turned my phone back on just for a moment, and wow, it exploded. Over 50 missed calls, dozens of angry texts, and a few long messages full of guilt trips from Mom. "I can't believe you did this to your family. We're stranded at the airport. How could you be so selfish?" From Dad. "Grow up, Rachel. This isn't how we solve problems in a family." From Amber. "You are dead to me. You ruined everything. I hope you're happy, loser." I read them with calm eyes and a steady heart. Then I opened Instagram. I saw Amber had posted a story, a blurry photo of her pouting in an airport chair with the caption, "When your psycho sister ruins your dream vacation." I laughed out loud. People were commenting, some agreeing with her, but others asking, "Wait, didn't she pay for the trip?" I closed the app and tossed my phone onto the hotel bed. That part of my life, it didn't matter anymore. Let them yell into the void. I was done being their doormat. Instead of arguing, I changed into my swimsuit and headed down to the beach. I spent the afternoon swimming, reading, and sipping iced tea under a palm tree. Later, I treated myself to a massage at the spa. The woman who worked on my back gently said, "You've got a lot of tension in here." I smiled softly and said, "Not for long." That evening, I had dinner by myself at a quiet outdoor restaurant. Soft music played. The lights were warm and golden, and the ocean breeze was perfect. Halfway through my meal, I looked around and realized I didn't miss them. Not even a little. I finally felt like me. The next morning, I sat on the balcony with my coffee and thought about everything that had happened. It still felt unreal. The slap. The silence. The way they turned on me like I was the problem. But instead of feeling broken, I felt stronger. I opened my laptop and started typing, not for anyone else, just for me. I wrote about what had happened, not just at the airport, but all the years before. The little jabs, the way I was always the helper, never the one helped. How being quiet made me invisible in my own family. Then I posted it on a blog I had made months ago but never used. I gave it a simple title, "The Day I Chose Myself." A few hours later, I checked again. Dozens of people had read it. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Comments were pouring in. This hit me hard. "I've been the invisible one too. You're so brave. Thank you for writing this. You didn't just cancel a trip, you set yourself free." By the next day, it had gone viral. People were sharing it all over social media. A popular travel page reposted it with a caption. Sometimes peace starts with a plane ticket and a boundary. Suddenly, I was getting messages from strangers saying I inspired them. Some were leaving toxic relationships. Others were setting boundaries with family for the first time. And right there, on that balcony in Maui, I realized something.
My story mattered.
I mattered. I wasn't just a background character in someone else's life anymore. A few days later, while I was hiking through a peaceful forest trail in Maui, my phone buzzed nonstop. I had kept it off most of the time, but I turned it on that morning to check my blog comments. Big mistake. Amber had gone full meltdown mode online. She posted a long rant on her social media trying to flip the story. My sister abandoned us at the airport and made us look like fools. She's lying about everything. She's jealous of me. Always has been. She even added a fake screenshot of a flight ticket she claimed she paid for. Except it had the wrong date and misspelled her own last name. People weren't buying it. Under her post, the comments were brutal. Girl, just say you got cut off. Your sister paid for the trip and you slapped her. No sympathy here. This is why boundaries are necessary. Her attempt to embarrass me backfired. I found out later that she even tried to rebook the Hawaii trip behind my back using my name. She thought she could still access the family credit card that had my name on it because I once let her use it for emergencies only. But I had already canceled the card, closed every shared account, locked down everything. So when she tried to use it in front of her friends at a fancy restaurant, her card was declined 3 times. She ended up storming out, humiliated. And yes, someone posted it online. The internet doesn't miss a thing. Meanwhile, back in Maui, I was eating fresh mangoes, walking on black sand beaches, and sleeping better than I had in years. My blog traffic kept growing. A few companies even reached out asking if I wanted to write more stories or become a travel partner. That made me pause. Maybe this wasn't just a vacation. Maybe it was a new beginning. After a full week in Maui, I wasn't the same person who got slapped in the airport. I was lighter, stronger, quieter on the outside, maybe, but loud with confidence on the inside. One morning, I sat at a beach cafe with my laptop and reread the message from a travel company that had reached out to me. We love your writing. Would you be interested in partnering with us to share more solo travel stories? I stared at it for a while. Me, the girl who never spoke up, the one always told to sit down, shut up, and let it go. Now, people wanted to hear what I had to say. I said yes. Over the next few weeks, I kept writing. I shared more stories about growing up as the overlooked child, learning how to set boundaries, and the joy of doing things on your own terms. I mixed in travel tips, healing moments, and photos of beautiful, peaceful places. My little blog turned into something bigger. People kept sharing their own stories in the comments. Some told me they booked their first solo trip. Others said they finally stood up to someone who'd been hurting them for years. A few just wrote, "Thank you for making me feel seen." I cried reading some of them, happy tears. I extended my stay in Maui, not because I was running from my old life, but because I was building a new one on my terms. I even started thinking about turning the blog into a full-time job, maybe even writing a book one day. And the best part? I didn't feel guilty anymore. Not about saying no. Not about walking away. Not about leaving people behind who never really saw me. It was a quiet evening. I was sitting on the balcony again, watching the sun dip behind the ocean. The sky painted in gold and pink. My laptop was open, but I wasn't writing. I was just breathing, enjoying the calm. For once, I didn't feel like I had to prove anything to anyone. That's when the message came in. Not from a stranger. Not from a brand. Not from my parents or Amber, they were still blocked. It was from Josh. Josh was a friend from college. One of the few people who had always been kind to me back then. We used to talk a lot. We lost touch after graduation, mostly because I got caught up in trying to hold my family together. His message said, "Rachel, I read your blog. I don't even know what to say. I'm proud of you, and I wish I'd told you years ago. You've always deserved better than what you got." My heart skipped, he continued. If you're still in Hawaii, I'd love to catch up sometime or just talk. No pressure, just someone who's in your corner. I stared at the message for a long time. This was different. No guilt, no expectations, just support, respect. I smiled and replied, "Hi, Josh. I'm still here, and I'd love to talk." For the first time in a long time, I felt something new, something gentle, something I hadn't felt in years. Hope.